Trump's top nuclear negotiators are accompanying the U.S. president on his trip to South Korea. They have been voicing hopes of resuming talks with the North while urging Pyongyang to cooperate. Will President Trump go with the flow, or could he surprise observers once more with a brand new message? Our Lee Ji-won has more.
National Security Advisor John Bolton, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Special Representative for North Korea Stephen Biegun. The trifecta of key U.S. officials representing Washington in its nuclear talks with North Korea are expected to gather in Seoul for President Donald Trump's summit with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Nuclear envoy Biegun arrived in Seoul a few days earlier to hold talks with his South Korean counterpart, and Pompeo and Bolton are expected to fly in from Japan alongside President Trump, fresh off the G20 summit. The hawkish hardliner Bolton said earlier this month that he believes a third summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is entirely possible. He said the U.S. is ready to hold a summit and that it can take place at any time the North desires. Secretary Pompeo, in response to questions on the exchange of personal letters between Trump and Kim, said a few days ago that he is hopeful it'll provide a good foundation for the two sides to restart talks. He added reports coming out of North Korea on it suggest there's a good possibility of working-level talks happening soon. Meanwhile, Biegun seemed to relay Washington's flexibility on its negotiations with the North. On Friday, during talks with South Korean nuclear envoy Lee Do-hun, Biegun said the U.S. is ready to negotiate with North Korea to implement the Singapore Agreement in a parallel and simultaneous way. Many experts saw this as Washington's effort to bring the North back to the negotiating table and narrow their gap in achieving peace, denuclearization, and normalization of diplomatic ties with the North. With President Trump to discuss North Korean issues with President Moon, eyes are on whether his message will be a rehash of what his aides have been saying, or if he has something completely new to break the current impasse with Pyongyang. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.